Uh, so hi guys, I think Samir has already introduced me to you guys. So my name is Abhishek and I'm working as a senior visualization engineer with RoundSqr. So I recently joined in the month of August. Okay, so this is divided into basically 9 modules here. Okay, so again, if I have to just put it this way, so the first 3 modules, again, this entire course would get you prepared for working with Tableau. Okay, you can just, once you're done with this, you can just start with your hands-on. And at the end of the module 9 there, I would be also giving you one assignment. Okay, and you can just try your hands on it. And meanwhile, if you have any questions there, okay, so I'll come back to that as well. So let me just first explain this outline here, course outline. So we'll first start with the data visualization part. So in today's class, I'm going to just talk you through, or let's say walk you through the data visualization part. Okay, I'm not going into Tableau today because again, even it like the course is data visualization with Tableau, so it's not only restricted to, when I say visualization, it's not only restricted to the visualization as per se, but also to the reporting as well. So, but in here, I just want to talk about the data visualization for today's class I'm talking about. And then we'll see how to navigate into Tableau, how to connect there. Then we'll see how to examine data and okay, what are the fields that are there in Tableau? Okay, getting used to the interface there. And at the end of the third module, I'll give you some small assignment kind of a thing so that you can just start off with some hands-on there. And then we'll move into the some intermediate part there, like exploring the fields that are there in Tableau. Okay, and again, then the calculations part. So those of you, again, it would be easier for those of you who are well versed with, or let's say who have any prior knowledge of SQL. You'll find a bit more comfortable when it comes to the calculations part. But again, I'll take it into the consideration that we all are starting from this scratch, and again, we'll move in that particular manner. And then in the sixth module, we'll start with the dashboarding part. Okay, so dashboarding and creating a visualization in a particular worksheet in Tableau are two different things. So in the dashboarding part and the storytelling part, we'll learn how to bring about all our visualizations together and fit them on a dashboard. Okay, so that is something that we'll do. And after that, the last 3 modules will go into the maps part. Again, something that would not take us much time there, but something which is very important. And again, a better way of depiction of things, especially when you are dealing with the data which involves locations. And in the eighth module, we'll cover the advanced charts part. Okay, so whatever charts you have seen by now must be the usual ones. Okay, mostly would be the usual ones like um, the bar chart, pie chart, or line chart. But we'll see into, we'll create some of the advanced charts into Tableau. Okay, like box and whiskers, or let's say Pareto chart. Okay, or let's say funnel chart, or uh, Gantt bar, or a waterfall chart. All those charts will cover there. And the final would be the level of detail expressions. Okay, so in Tableau, there is a fixed level of granularity on each page depending upon what is there on that particular page. So we'll see how we can change that level of detail by using the LOD expressions. Okay, so again, that is something that we'll cover in the last class. Okay, very important. And again, the last 3, I would say, if you get the hold of last 3, or let's say last 4, you are pretty much done with the intermediate to advanced part of Tableau as well. So again, that is good enough to get you started. But again, the more you'll do the practice, the better you'll get at Tableau. Okay. So again, this is as per the course outline. Any questions on the course outline? Okay. Okay, so let me just come back to if you don't have any other questions here, I think we are pretty much clear about like why we are training, why we are doing this training, and how we can make best use of the live sessions, and what is the course outline. Again, too soon for you guys to, again, those of you who have never worked or on Tableau. Too soon for you to figure out what is this. This might feel alienated here. Okay, but yeah, again, just to give you a heads up here, we are starting with the first module today. That is that talks about mostly the data visualization part. Okay, so yeah, so again, we are going to cover, again, I have just divided it into three parts now. So first is introduction to data visualization. So why we visualize data, and I have taken one example here of again, how statistics can be deceptive. Okay, so I have taken an example of Anscombe's quartet. Some of you must have heard it. Okay, I think if those of you who are in data science positions, you must have heard it. Those of you who are hearing it for the first time, we're going to see like what it is, and then a few good practices that we should do while creating a visualization, and then we'll move into certain design principles and processes that should be followed while building up our data visualization, and then like what is or how does a good visualization looks, something that we are going to see. Then once we are done with the data visualization part, we are going to see what is Tableau, and we'll see why we use Tableau, and again, different Tableau products, and the small comparison between Tableau versus Power BI. And again, final part would be in the installing part. Okay, so how to install Tableau desktop here. So I mentioned Tableau desktop, but again, as Parag mentioned, like we are mostly going to work with the Tableau public version. I'm not sure how many of you can get the desktop there. So okay, so the one good part is the desktop version is available fully if you have any student license there. I'm not sure if all of you can arrange it or not. So if any one of your acquaintances has any student there who have a valid ID card, you can actually just register through their ID card and get the product key and just enter it. Okay, something that I can show you quickly, like where to enter that. Um, so it's all about once you get into the Tableau part. So this is our second screen, and you can just click here on manage product keys, and you can just enter your product key here. So again, something that we'll see in the later part. So this is how we can install a Tableau desktop version. And what is desktop, what is Tableau public, something we are going to cover in today's class after a point of time. Okay, again, then we will see on like how a Tableau home screen looks, and Tableau file types, Tableau data types, and then interface and its key components there. Again, just a basic data visualization and Tableau introduction for today's class. Okay, I just don't want to go completely inside Tableau and get you started with the first day itself. And yeah, so also one more thing that I would like to just emphasize here. So once we are done with this, and I think recording is something that would be available to all of us. I'm not sure how much do we have that option or not, but we can actually, I'll recommend that you guys can watch my all these videos, training videos at 1.5x speed. Okay, so like those of you who have met me know this thing. This is not my general speaking, I mean speed. So usually I talk very fast, but whenever I'm in the session, I tend to go a bit slow there. So you can just watch the videos at 1.5 speed. That is one recommendation. Like wherever I've done the training, I have given the same recommendation, and it has actually helped out the people with this. So again, that's just a recommendation from my end. And anyways, all the slides and all the recordings would be available to all of us once we are done with it. I think session by session only we can do that. I'm not very sure. I think Lalita can comment more on that. Is it possible to make them available session by session, Lalita?
Yep, we can do that, Abhishek.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay. Uh, okay, so let's move to our main agenda, like from where we should start today's class. Before that, anyone has any other questions that you want me to start off with before I start with today's session? Any question till whatever we have covered, or any other question that you want to ask?
No.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thanks for the response. I don't know whosoever has responded, but yeah, thanks for your response. Okay, so let us just start with what is data visualization, or again, why data visualization? Okay, so again, something that you must have heard a lot these days, visualization. Again, I would recommend it. These days, it's booming. Booming like anything, because there is a good overload of information and data that is there, and we need people out there to understand the data. So that is the one of the main reasons, if you ask me. Like, understanding the data is a very important part there. Again, even if it's data science, or let's say reporting part, or let's say any managerial decisions, so understanding the data is something that is required, that is a prerequisite. And for that, data visualization um, is the best form of understanding the data. Okay, so again, I'm not sure how many of you must have heard this saying, like, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So that is one part. And also, our eyes are one of the most dominant senses that is there. So what we see, we tend to perceive it very quickly. So again, as it is mentioned here, a good data visualization can allow us to see underlying trends, outliers, patterns in big data sets. Okay, so that is also one of the key components in a good visualization. So how ideally I define a good visualization would be any visualization which takes us not more than 15 seconds. Okay, I'll repeat, any visualization which takes us not more than 15 seconds to grasp it, to understand it, and to analyze it is a good visualization. Okay, so this is something that we should keep in our mind while building a visualization. And it's, again, it's an ongoing process, something we'll discuss in a while. And again, it allows us to understand abstract concepts with minimal effort. Okay, so let's say if I have a story, it would be easier for me to paint this story this way rather than coming up with a tabular report, or let's say coming up with numbers and trends there. Better way would be to make it more visual, to make it more relatable, so that the person who is viewing it can actually understand it better. Okay, any questions on this?
No.
Okay, so again, this is just I've taken this example just to highlight the importance of how or why we need data visualization. So if you see in this data set, so this is a classical case of enscombus quartet. Okay, so if you see here, so I want you to have a close look here. So if you see, we have four data set here: data set 1, data set 2, 3, and 4. So basically, what this example or use case is trying to say is, seeing this particular data, we come up with certain insights, but when we actually visualize it, things tend out to be completely different there. So if you see here closely, just have a look. So the descriptive statistics, that is the sum, average, and standard deviation for all these four data sets, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you see, for X values, all are same, yeah, or approximately same. If you see, all the series have X sum as 99, and average as 9, and standard deviation as 3.32. Okay, if you see all four of them, see, in all four dataset X values, they have same insights, same descriptive statistics. And in also similar is the case for all the Y data points as well, for all the four data sets. If you see, all of them are exactly the same. Okay, so yeah, so in here, the importance of visualization, visualizing the data is being highlighted. So when we see them in a particular table, we tend to conclude on the things. Okay, we have four data sets with same descriptive statistics. Okay, with same mean, averages, and standard deviation. But actually, when we try to visualize this particular data, the picture comes out to be something different. So if you see here, okay, so I've plotted all four of them. Okay, and if you see now, the first one seems to be more like a scatter. Again, all are scatter plots, but if you
Cluster.
see, hello.
First one looks like a clustering part.
Yeah, so again, all are basically scatter plots, but if you see here, the first one being showing us a kind of a linear upward trend. The second one is more like a parabola. Third one is like a straight line, but one of them is the outlier. Fourth one is also kind of a line, you can say, and then you have one outlier there. So again, the whole idea here is, even if you see that, now I just want to come back to this and make you see this data, and you see closely. Okay, some of them, like if you see this data set 4 here, all the x values are 8 except for this one particular value here. Okay, so this is that outlier value. Okay, but if you see, if I have to give you only these numbers here, okay, from the 4 data set, then you will have the similar conclusion. So, and by visualizing the data, you are actually able to drill it down further to a different level, is what I want to emphasize on. So this is the power of the data visualization that we have here. Okay, so again, we can easily see the trends here now, which would otherwise been avoided had we only seen the descriptive statistics there. But as you can see it now, okay, we have four different data sets with four different visualizations, implying four different things. Okay, so visualization has, in a way, allowed us to identify uh, such trends and patterns in the data, like I mentioned 2 slides before. Any questions on this? Any of you who didn't understand like what is the comparison that I was trying to highlight, or anything you want me to repeat?
No.
Okay.
It's clear, Abhishek.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so just quickly going through the some of the good practices that you should always do while creating a data visualization. Okay, so again, so the first and the most important point I would be highlighting here would be um, the audience that you are catering your I mean their needs to. So again, it needs to be very specific. Okay, it needs to be very targeted, and you should always know your audience. So this is the first and the most important principle here, or I would say the most important good practice here that you should always do. Without knowing without knowing your audience, it would be very difficult for you to build something. Okay, consider it as a requirement there. Okay, so until unless you don't have a requirement that is there, it's very difficult for you to start from the scratch. Okay, because it requires another amount of effort there. So you should be very clear about the needs of the audience that you are going to make the visualization for. So let's say, for example, if you are making a visualization for the let's say the top level management, then they might be more interested in the aggregated numbers rather than drilling it down further into the individual aspects there. But let's say if you're a data scientist, then you might be more into the data exploration part rather than seeing the aggregated numbers there. So this is one, again, just I could think of one of the comparisons that you can I mean you can actually understand there. So knowing the audience is the most important thing there. Secondly, I would come to this part here. So let's say, if again, choosing the right medium is also important. So what I mean here is, so let's say if you are showing a trend line, um, showing the trend line with a line chart would make much more sense rather than showing it with a graph there, with a bar chart there. So also, in addition to the audience there, the second good practice would be also knowing which graph would represent a particular visualization better. So knowing that thing would be also very important there. Okay. And again, let's say since I've written down an example here, so if you want to show general trends, it's better to go for a line chart. And if you want to compare quantities, bar chart would be a preferred option. So again, knowing what you are going to build, you have to select the graph there. Okay. And third would be, again, make sure that your visualization have clear context clues. Okay. So what do I mean by this? So let's say, okay, whatever we are trying to highlight should come up there with that particular clue there. For example, color could be one clue. Okay, so let's say our mind is designed to think that red is a color for danger. So, or let's say loss here, and you are showing some profitability analysis. So it would be better to show it with a green color if it's a profit and a red color if it's a loss. So these are all contextual clues there. Also, you can have things like, again, text values that can be there. As you can see, let's say you want to highlight those particular numbers, or you want to highlight a particular chart out of all other, let's say in a bar graph, let's say there are 10 bars there and you want to highlight a particular one, then you can actually use color to highlight that one particular bar and then the rest of them in some other color. Similar way, you can also do it with the size part as well. The one that, let's say the one that you want to highlight it, let's say, then you can actually use the one that you want to highlight and in the size part there, you can actually increase the size for that particular chart. So this way it should be very, very clear, like whatever you are building, you should be very clear with these best practices. Again, I'll re-emphasize targeting the audience for which you're going to build it. Again, selection of your choice, or rather selection or choice of the chart that you're going to take, and then the contextual clues that you're going to put into the chart. Okay. Also, in addition to these three, the last point would be to make it more more engaging, to make your dashboards more engaging and dynamic there. Okay, so visualization has now I mean, going through a change now. It is no longer a static visualization, as you can see here. Okay, these are all static visualization. We have grown or come across too far from this, and we can actually create interactive dashboards whereby the user who is viewing the dashboard has different options and they can just drill down or select some filters from there and then visualize the data depending upon their needs. So we need to make sure that we keep it engaging and we keep it simple. Okay, we don't want to build a too complex visualizations as well until unless it is required from the client's end, or let's say from the user's end. Just make it simple. Again, if you remember, I told you good visualization is one which can be actually grasped within 15 seconds easily and analyzed and visualized within 15 seconds. So make sure that that principle also stays with you. Okay, any questions on this?
So Abhishek, here, one thing you said, we should know some SQL as a prerequisite to start with Tableau. Also, what level of statistic should we know, to make this visualizations more better, productive?
Okay. So you got two questions for me. Okay. So SQL is kind of a prerequisite, but actually if you have to ask me, I started it. Okay, I myself started first with Tableau and then I learned SQL after that. So
Okay.
so that way I would say it would be better if you know it, but not necessarily that you can't learn Tableau without knowing SQL. I would say it that way. And coming back to your second question, sorry, can you just repeat that again?
Statistics, like knowledge of
Yeah.
statistics.
Yeah, so knowledge of statistics, I would say again basic to again limited without even having a good amount of statistics knowledge there. Even if you have limited knowledge there, you can easily go with the Tableau part as long as you know what you want. So let's say if you know like you want an average there, and you know again we are going to see it how we can get the average. We are good there. I think beyond that we don't really need it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. So I have finally one camera turned on. Thanks, Ravi, for that. Okay. Yeah. Any other question from anyone else? Okay. Let's move ahead in that case. Okay, I'll just go for 5 more minutes. Maybe I can just complete these two, and then we'll have a 5 minutes break. Okay. Yeah, again, we just saw some of the best practices. Now let me just come to some of the design principles and processes there. Okay, so let us just start with the process first. On the right side, if you can see my screen. So it all starts with the requirement gathering phase, just like basic agile methodology there. Okay, so we'll start with the required gathering phase, and then we'll start the designing part. Okay, so in a visualization project, as far as my experience is concerned, I have seen like most of the clients, I would say, are not clear about what they want on the dashboard. And once you come up, they want you to lay out the things for them. And once you are done with that particular process, they come up with the feedback and redesigning part there. Okay. And again, the requirement starts to come up after that. So this is what my experience is. Um, yeah. So like every other project, agile project, it starts with the requirements gathering phase, and then we start our usual development or designing, whichever way you may want to address it. And then we get the feedback from the client. Then we work on that particular feedback and we redesign. And then we finally test it. And again, I think there should be one more feedback here. And if there is anything else needed, then we redesign it and then finally we launch it. What I want to say here is I want to add one more thing here. So this feedback and redesigning part, they can occur again and again as well. Okay, this is again, this is something that is not limited to only one cycle there. Okay, one feedback and redesigning cycle. This is something that can come again and again. Again, depends upon the client. Okay, and the requirements there. Sometimes small again. Okay, so again, one more important thing. So sometimes even a small change especially in Tableau, even a small change request would actually make you think of a completely different logic there. Okay, it might be a small change in the colors. Let's say you want first bar to be of this color and the remaining bars to be of let's say fading colors. So even that something, again, something from my previous projects, so would, let's say, take you time to think about like how you can incorporate this particular thing. So this feedback and redesigning cycle is something that is there, which comes on and on and on. So again, something that you can do to avoid it, I would say it would be better if we get all the clarity part in this requirement gathering phase only. Otherwise, yeah, this is something that takes time. So again, just a small example there. So I was doing one project, and we built up the dashboard of 4 screens in just 14 days there, two of us. And the redesigning and feedback phase was something that went on for another 2.5 months. Okay. So we might be, let's say, assigning this thing, or let's say committing this thing that we'll be doing this in, let's say, 1 month. But again, the redesigning and the feedback cycle is something that goes on and on. So what I would suggest is, let's say, even if I'm not sure if there are any project managers here in this session here. So whatever is the time period that you think that it would take you, just double that time period and then only give this make sure that you have space for this feedback and redesigning part in your schedule, because this is the most important part, where I've seen clients craving about the fact that okay, we needed this in this much time, what is taking you so long? And also it is very difficult to explain small changes like what you have done, and why it took you so much time there. So again, most of my calls went in explaining like why it took me so much time, and what is it that we have figured out and how we are planning to do it. So I'm just spending more time on this particular slide because this is very important. If we get hold of this particular part here, especially this three part here: requirements gathering, designing, and feedback, we will be very good with the data visualization part. Okay, and it is something that is going to surely take time here. So just again, just kind of a thumb rule there. Whatever time you estimate in um, while the requirement gathering phase is going on, just double it for sure. That is the minimum amount of time that will take you to complete your project on time, especially a data visualization project. I'm not sure how much this is in line with the other data science projects and all. But for data visualization, again, especially in the Tableau part, I've seen this thing, that this feedback and designing loop is something that goes on and on. Okay. Anyone, again, those of you who are into data science, if you want to comment on if it's same with the data science as well or not, you can just let me know if you think this is same with the data science as well. Okay. Yeah, and let me just cover this design principles as well. So again, very simple. Just make sure that you show only the relevant metrics in your visualization. Okay, don't show anything which is not needed there. Make it as simple as possible. Ideally, all the aggregated numbers should be on top. Okay, so again, because we are more interested to first see what is there in the aggregation part, and then we can later on we can have the other numbers there. So ideally, aggregated numbers should be on top. Okay, so make sure that you have all the relevant metrics on this on your dashboard. Make it visual as possible. Make it interactive if possible or if needed. If not needed, then that's a different thing. But these days, dashboarding is for sure needs to be interactive. Also, make sure that it is easy to use as well. You should not put complex filters and sorry, complex filters, and again uh, filters that are dependent on each other, and after that you are not able to figure out like how to use them. So make sure that it is easy to use as well. Okay, it should not be like you have created something that other person is not able to use it. So you need to make sure that it is easy to use as well. And also over time, you make sure that you improve it again and again. Improvement can be in terms of performance, can be in terms of, again, design, can be in terms of look and feel. Again, depends upon how much time do you get in there. Okay. um, so ideally how it should be, like once you are done with this thing, okay, you can just show the client, so this is what I have come up with. But given the time, if you give me this much time, these are all the things that I can do with the dashboard, and then you can just go ahead and build those particular things in the dashboard. And again, just re-emphasizing on the fact, like in the requirement gathering phase, coming back to it, whatever is the time you estimate, just double that amount, because you have to uh, keep some leverage for this redesigning and feedback loop as well. Okay, any questions here? Anyone, any questions?
I have one more question, Abhijit.
Yeah, sure.
So my question is that when you said that like about the performance, like we can check the performance also of Tableau report. So what exactly this performance depends on? I'm sure we are going to discuss it later also, but I just wanted to understand, is it only the SQL query or is it like something else also?
Okay, again, that's a very good question. It can be a SQL query. Mostly it is a SQL query. Okay. but it can be the filters as well. It can be the size of the data as well. It can be the amount of data we are working that is there in the extract as well. It can be the amount of incoming data as well. So again, not it all depends upon uh, like how we have built up our dashboard. So let's say SQL query, let's say if, okay, so let's say, let it consider this way. If a column is directly coming from SQL, so I'm just making an example so that everyone, even without a SQL background, can understand. So let us take it this way, that um, you have a column that is coming from the SQL part. Okay, and we have connected through SQL into our Tableau dashboard, and we need certain manipulations on that particular column there. Okay, which implies certain complex calculations. Okay, and this is something that we are writing after bringing it into the Tableau part. We are doing the calculation there. Okay, so that would take us much more time rather than making the same transformation on that particular variable in the SQL itself and then getting the direct column from the SQL. So is my example clear, or should I repeat it again?
Yes, so like what I understood is one is the SQL, like we can perform
Yeah,
as our SQL queries, but there are also options which are like directly something is
yeah,
given in Tableau.
yeah.
If we use that, it will be faster.
Right. So let's say the filter is there. For example, let's say the data that you are working is 10 million rows there. Okay, and involves a time period of 2000 to, let's say, 2021, 21 years of data. But that entire data is not for your use. Okay, and you want to bring on, let's say, only 2 years of data, 2020 and 2021. So after getting it into Tableau, what you can actually do is you can actually connect it and create a filter there whereby you'll get only 2020 and 2021 data in the Tableau itself. That will surely, I think if it's a 10 million rows, that will um, reduce it down to around 1 million, 2 million rows there, and surely improve your performance there. So that is one way to improve the performance using the filters part. And this is mostly done through data source filters that can be done. And also second would be context filters is also you can try out there. Again, that's the later part there. Also the type number of visualizations that you are putting on the dashboard, or let's say the number of worksheets that you have put on the dashboard. It all depends on all those things there. Okay.
Okay, Abhishek, got it.
Okay. Okay, let me just finish that next slide and then we can take a break. Yeah. So again, just a simple one here. What is a good visualization if you ask me, apart from telling you this thing, like it should be analyzed and uh, again understood within 15 seconds, that is one part. But what are the steps involved in order to make that good visualization? Again, our life is not that simple that we find our data in what particular database or data source. So again, the Tableau gives us very good connectivity options. Okay, so if you have to ask me, the connections and the connectivity options that Tableau provide us, it can, again, any good database that you know of, it has a direct connector to it mostly. You might have to install again certain connectors, small connectors there. Okay, so that is one thing that you can do, but most of them can be directly connected. Okay, again, three steps involved there. Integrating the different data sets. So it's not only that your data is coming from one particular place only and you can just limit it to that particular data set. Again, if you want, you can connect simultaneously from a database, simultaneously from an Excel file, and from a let's say some other file, spatial file or SPSS file. So you can connect through multiple data sets there, and then you can blend those particular data sets there and actually analyze the visualization in the data set itself. Okay, while working on the Tableau. So there is no need to, uh, I mean, blend the data, or let's say join the data outside and then finally getting into a database and then finally getting into Tableau. So again, what you can do is you can actually connect inside Tableau only through the different data sets and then connect it there. Over and above this, we have a preparation tool or ETL tool as well called as Tableau Prep. Okay, so that comes along with Tableau Desktop, but something that is beyond the scope of our course here. Okay, because that takes us into completely different thing into the ETL part, which is altogether a different thing. So again, necessary for us, but we again this course content we have limited it to the Tableau part only. And Tableau Prep is a different tool than that. Again, that is for the data manipulation and transformations and all. But again, in here we are going to, do this particular analysis with the Tableau only. So integrating the different data set is one part, then analyzing it, or let's say doing some exploration on the data and doing some calculation, writing down some calculations there comes under the analyzing part, and finally presenting it comes under the visualization part. So if you see this visualization here, you can see we are blending so many data sources here finally, and it is going through analyzing. We are doing all the analyzing part here, the yellow ones, the red ones, and all. We are just segregating it here, and finally we are coming up with the visualizations here for visually in a visually pleasing manner here, so that we can understand the data better. So just to give you an example, so what we saw earlier, the Anscombe quartet, if you remember the data set there, raw data set, and the final when you visualized it, it came something like this. So it starts off with the integration part, goes into the analyzing part, and finally we present it visually, and we finally visualize this part. Okay, so these are the three major steps that are there for making a good data visualization. And I think I'm pretty much done as of now, and we are good to take a break. Meanwhile, anyone has any other question before we go into the break?
So, Abhishek, about Tableau prep. So, is it like necessary to use it in every Tableau thing, or is it like something else can also be used instead of Tableau prep?
You can use, again, you have other ETL tools as well, right? So Informatica and not sure about all of them, maybe Nime or some
I
other.
wanted to make sure like we don't have to necessarily use Tableau prep if we are using Tableau. Like anything can be used instead of Tableau prep.
Yeah, I'm quite sure we can do that, because ultimately, even if let's say you are doing all your transformations there, there must be some place where you will be storing it, right? The output would be either into an, let's say if it's a small data, then the output would be an Excel file or a CSV file. If it's a large data, it would be a database, right? So ultimately, we are going to connect through that particular text file or the Excel file or the database. So that is something that we can do. So that would avoid us, getting into the Tableau prep. So it works like any other ETL tool. So even if Tableau prep output would be either a Tableau extract file there, or you can save it as an Excel or a CSV file or into a database. Again, it will work in a exactly similar manner. Whatever ETL tool you'll use, you'll save it somewhere in some output, and that particular output is something that we can connect through the Tableau.
Okay, got it now.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions before we take a quick break? We can continue. Okay. So I think till now I've done a lot of Tableau thing, and now we are good to actually see what it is. So let me just give you a brief history there. So, okay, three Stanford graduates, actually they wanted to solve this all Tableau thing started as a college project. Okay, so three Stanford graduates actually thought of solving the problem of uh, static visualization, and they wanted to build the dynamic visualization there. Okay, so this was the problem that they were trying to address, and that's how I mean all the Tableau started there. Okay, so that is one thing. Also, since I think Parag asked me about the SQL part there. So if you see, Tableau is actually based on their patented language called as Viz-CoE. Okay, which is again visualization query language. So whatever visualization that we are building in Tableau, in effect, it's a table only. Okay, so every visualization in Tableau can actually be uh, if you just duplicate it as a cross tab there, you can actually get the table. Okay, so in the backend, there are many temporary tables created, and then they are joined, and then all those manipulations. In the backend, everything is going on for a particular visualization. But in front end, we finally receive a visualization. Also, if we want to see, okay, let me just quickly show you this thing. Okay, so I didn't want to go inside this, but let me just show you quickly. So let's say I have a particular visualization and I want to see the data behind it. I can just simply go as duplicate as cross tab there. And I have that particular table for the visualization. Something like this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so every visualization is basically a table only. Okay, we call it as this language as Viz-CoE. Again, that is something that is patented when they were doing their college project. So just to again, just to highlight it here completely. So Tableau is basically a visual analytics platform. People call it as a visualization tool, but how I would address it, it would be a more than a visualization tool. Okay, so it is rather a visualization, rather more than a visualization tool. It's rather a business intelligence tool because it also provides you added capabilities to further drill down your data, look into your data, and see what all things can be done with the data. So it helps you with all those stages and all those processes there. So according to me, it would be wrong to call it only as a visualization tool. It's more than a visualization tool. Yeah, so just to read it out here quickly, Tableau is a visual analytics platform, which is again visually expresses data by translating. Again, you have some drag and drop options there, but again, it's not only about dragging and dropping here only. Okay, so the basic Tableau, again, getting used to it won't take you much time, all the dragging and dropping part of the variables. But once you start off with this again, and once you start practicing it, you'll get to know there are certain challenges. And that's why we are going to spend more time in the initial part so that we build up that much fundamental base there so that we can overcome those challenges as and when they come. Okay. Yeah. So again, it not only allows us to visualize the data, but also allows us to perform the analysis of that particular data. Again, I would say I would recommend for a data analyst and data scientist perspective, just exploring your data before the data building model building stage. Tableau comes in handy there, and also post the development of the model when you want to analyze your results. Let's say your test results um, with your actual results there. Then Tableau actually serves in very handy there. Okay, and again, yeah, one important thing, it allows us to explore data at different levels of aggregation. So when I talk about aggregation, granularity is something that comes in. Okay, so let's say if you are analyzing it at a country level, and the data is like that you have the availability of country as well as state as well as city as well as let's say postal numbers as well. So it can actually provide you the capability to drill it down to that particular level. Okay. So just to give you an example there, so let's say on a country basis, you find you are looking for the profitable countries for a particular retail store there, and you find out that okay, so India is profitable there. But when you look at the state-wise analysis, there might be some states which are doing losses there. Okay, and let's say when you drill it down further to the city-wise analysis, there might be some cities in the profitable states which might be doing losses there. So again, it all depends upon the more the granular the view is, okay, the lesser would be the aggregation, and the lesser granular the view is, the more would be the aggregation. So kind of a inverse relationship between granularity and aggregation there. Something that we are going to discuss not today, but mostly in the second or the third module there. So I think I've covered pretty much introduction, quite a bit introduction on the Tableau part. Any other question here? Okay, I think this is quite self-explanatory, so I can just move ahead. But still, if you have any other question, just do let me know once I'm done with the particular slide. Okay, so why use Tableau? Okay, so again, very good question here. So if you have to suggest or ask me like why we should learn Tableau, so I would say again, these would be all my pitching points here. So again, first point would be it's user friendly there. Okay, so right from the data manipulation to the final visualization to exporting the data, everything can be done in Tableau. Okay, again, it's a more than a visualization tool. I'll again reiterate on that particular fact. Okay, and very easy to learn. At least the starting of part, I would say it's very easy there. Okay, you just have to do the drag and drops and to see how your visualization works. But again, it is not limited to that only. So don't just think that Tableau is all about dragging and dropping. Okay, so that is basic part that can be done there. But again, there is a lot more than that. But yeah, basic analysis you can just learn very quickly once you start the dragging and dropping part. Second would be the connectivity part. Okay, so I already mentioned this. Tableau provides you to the option to connect with so many data sources. So whatever known popular or known databases are there, you can directly connect to those data sources through Tableau. And if there is some data source wherever you are not able to connect or you're not able to find in the Tableau's inbuilt connectors, then you can connect through the open database connector there. Okay, you have the option of ODBC. Okay, so that is one part. And then the third point would be intuitive and fast processing. Again, since Tableau has its in-memory database system. Okay, so if you, let's say, so whatever data you get into Tableau, you can actually take an extract there. And just to, again, just a fact there. So Tableau has its own data in-memory database system, which actually suppresses the data to the 1/10th level. Okay, so that saves you a lot of space there and actually turns the processing fast and intuitive, because the more you'll work on Tableau, the more you are able to get it. Okay, this can be done this way because I did something previously the same way. So this is something you can actually you'll actually feel when you'll start working on the Tableau part, the intuitiveness that is there. Okay, so that is the added advantage of having a inbuilt database memory system in Tableau, that the processing is very fast. Also, fourth point would be the shareability part. So Tableau has its own server called as Tableau server there, and anyone can publish their workbook on that particular server there. Also, not only that, not only it's limited to the desktop there, it can be done on the mobile as well. It can be done for the tablet as well. Again, depends upon wherever you are sharing, the shareability option that Tableau provides. While creating it as well, you can just adjust the size there according to the mobile phone or according to the laptop or according to a big screen. You have all those options there.
and then you can easily share there, and you can actually open the visualizations in your mobile phone, and you can just have a look at there. Okay, so that is the kind of shareability that Tableau provides. Over and above this, we have the map option there. Okay, so the maps is something in Tableau which is not limited to a particular point there, latitudes and longitudes, but also to a customized territory there as well. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the spatial files and all. Okay, so whatever we do in the maps currently, it's mostly a point analysis there. Okay, but you can actually draw the polygons and all there. Again, I'm not sure how much uh, or how many of you have heard about this, but again, you can just ignore it for now and consider it as like the map options that Tableau provides is way more than any other visualization tool in the market. Okay, so especially when you're working with maps, Tableau is your tool. And then we have a tool, rather a button called as Show Me tool. It is also addressed as the crown jewel of Tableau. Okay, so Tableau actually gives you the option there for certain visualization. So all you have to do is just drag and drop certain measures and dimensions there. Okay, I'm not just deliberately going into it completely, just to give you some overview there. So all you have to do is just drop your variables into the shelves, and you get the option of building the visualizations on top of that. So just to quickly show you, so you have an option here. So if you have this data, like, okay, so what all things can you build up with this particular data? Simple. This is something I'm talking about. Again, we are going to see all of this. It's just a matter of some time. And the okay, and over and above this, the best part about the Tableau that I like the most is it's a huge community base that is there. Okay, so Tableau has its own community called as Tableau community there. You'll find so many resources there, and I mean, you can practically whatever is there in the Tableau, practically everything is present there, right from the training videos to uh, course material, or to, let's say, uh, if there is a particular readability or the data there, or readable material there, or the data there, everything you will find on the Tableau site there. That is one huge and the advantage that is there with the Tableau, which is not in case of any other visualization tool. So you have a huge community access, and you have a huge amount of resources there. Okay, and all those resources are completely free. Okay, so that is one thing. And yeah, so these are all, again, I would say my pitching points if I have to pitch someone about Tableau. So these are all the pitching points there. Its shareability, its intuitiveness, its fast processing, its user friendliness, its maps option, and finally its huge community there. Okay, so anyone with a good amount of training there. So let's say what we are doing currently, 1.5 month training here, almost 40 to 45 days. And let's say after that you spend in another 45 days working on the data sets there, would get you in a good shape there. Okay, you are good in terms of learning things, or let's say in terms of building things in Tableau. Any question on this? Anyone, any questions? Anything not clear here? Okay. Yeah, so let me just okay. Let me just cover these. So again, what all Tableau products are available in the market? Okay, so I'll just go each one of them one by one. So Tableau Prep is one that I've already discussed. It's basically an ETL tool there, just for the, again, combining, shaping, cleaning, or any other analysis that is required for the analysis. That is something that you can do with Tableau Prep. Okay, whatever other analysis that you can do with the other ETL tools, all those things, mostly all those things can be done with Tableau Prep as well. And it comes along with Tableau desktop. Okay, so if you have a Tableau desktop license, you can again install Tableau prep and use the same license there. Okay, so that is one thing. Second would be Tableau desktop option. That is the most commonly used one. Okay, so desktop version is something that you can actually install on your system, and then you can do all the development part there, and then you can share it by publishing your reports on the server. Then comes to the server part. Server is something which is there to, again, to publish, to store, and to refresh, to schedule the automatic refreshes that are there in your workbook. Okay, so let's say if I have to share it, let's say if we are working in a development environment there, and let's say we are working in two different time zones. I am working, let's say 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you are working 5 p.m. to 2 p.m. So let's say if whenever I finish my work, I just publish it on the server, and whichever is the latest version, you can pick it up. You can complete your work, and again you can publish it. By the time I come back the next day, I can just take up that particular workbook and start my day. So that is the server option there that is there. Then you have the online mode. Okay, so again, whatever is there in Tableau desktop, you can same in the same way you can do the creation part, okay, through a creator's license on the website itself, okay, or on the server itself rather. Once you open a workbook on the server, you can just start editing it on the server itself. You won't get mostly all the options in the online part that are there in the desktop, but most of them you will get it. Okay, so all of them would not be there, or most of them would be there. Okay, so again, you can interchange your online license. So whatever license you have, you can download a desktop version and you can use the same license in the online one. Then you have the mobile option. Again, it's a kind of an app there, more to just see and publish use, not really to create on the mobile part there. But again, if someone wants to explore that as well, you are very well again welcome to do that. Even I have not really explored this option much, the mobile part. The mostly used part, again, for the free, in terms of the free licensing, would be the Tableau public part. That is something that, again, I think that should be the one that we should be using for this training. But let's see if any of you can, again, as I mentioned, if you can just get hold of any of your um, acquaintances which are there as a student and get a student ID card there. Again, it's a very simple process there. Let me just quickly show you. Yeah, all you have to do is just type in Tableau student license. Just go here, free student license. Just enter some details here, whatever details it will ask. Okay, it is just loading up, and then you can just yeah, all you need is a valid ID card. And just verify student status. And as soon as you go on to the next screen, once you click on the verify student status, you can just you have to upload the ID card there. Again, it needs to be a valid ID card with an expiration date on it, and then you are good to have a 1 year complete license um, um, on your machine. So those of you who are working on company's laptop here, I would recommend if you can get it that way, and then you can install Tableau in your machine. Otherwise, you can have on some of your personal laptops. That way you can do it. Otherwise, the third option would be you can create a Tableau public profile there. Okay, Tableau public something, but again, the limitation to this would be it doesn't allow you to save the whatever workbooks you have created. It won't allow you to save it locally, so it would be always on a server, again on a Tableau server that would be there on your profile. So that is the limitation there with the public part. Again, I would recommend if you can find out any student and get the student licensing done, that would be great. Otherwise, I think public is the last option that we can have. Okay, so just again, we have time till Thursdays. If you have any problem on this thing, any questions, again, you can reach out to me on Teams. Okay, so you can just drop in a text there and I'll respond to it. And the final part would be the Tableau reader part. It only allows you to read the files there. Okay, it doesn't really give you the option to create and edit those files. You can only just read it. Okay, so that is the final product that is there. Any question on this? I'll be surprised if we don't have any questions here.
Yeah, Abhishek, about Tableau server. So, like in our organization, we always need to have Tableau server if we want to share, or it can be shared through any other channel also. If we
See,
have
it
developed on desktop or public.
okay. It depends upon again. So let's say right now I'm working with the client there. They have a dedicated server there. Okay, but even if that is not there, again, we can share through the mails there. So we have the option of having the packaged workbook as well with the data. I think something that is there, but at the towards the end here. Yeah. So we have the Tableau packaged workbook there. So every file that is there, okay, we can actually we can actually get the data inside that with the extract part. Something that again, I don't want to go into it right now, but yeah, so I would recommend, let me just come back here and I would recommend like in this sharing part, we can actually share with the data inside the workbook itself through mails. Otherwise, yeah, server is something that comes with an additional cost there because again, desktop also comes with an enterprise version or simple user individual licensing version. So that is also there. So yeah, so just to answer your question, yes, we'll need a server if we plan to set it up across different, let's say, teams there in the company. Yes, it comes with an additional cost. But let's say if we are working with the clients, mostly if there is a requirement on their end, desktop is something, again, sorry, server is something that they'll be usually having it.
Okay, fine. And about the student license, so if we can get some student ID, so it is only for 1 year we can get, or is it like till that a
Yeah,
student
it's
is
it's
back?
for one year. So once you get the product key, and once you again, like I showed you earlier, once you
Yeah.
get the product key, and once you put in here,
Mhm.
manage product keys part, okay, you'll get that option. It will ask you to enter the product key. You can see the date here like this, that the license expires
Yeah.
on, like in my case, 25th February 2022. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Likewise, you can also get at this. I would recommend if you guys can find out that, that would be great. Okay, that actually does it away from the need of getting into the okay, this public thing and not able to save your things locally. The second way you can do it, you can actually have the different release versions for 14 days trials there. This is how you can manage to get it into your desktop. Okay, so these are the two ways you can do it.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'll stop here today. Okay, again, this interesting part, we'll start the next class with this Tableau versus Power BI comparison. I'm good for the day, and I think we are pretty much we are on time. If anyone has any other questions related to whatever we have covered today, you can just let me know, or else we can wind up.
In Tableau server, we can both can work parallelly.
I didn't get your question.
In Tableau server, I mean both can work parallelly and sync simultaneously. Like that's possible.
You mean two people working together
Yeah.
Like let's say you are also working and I'm working, and we publish the version, right?
Yes. Yes.
No, that way it will take only the latest version there. So let's say you were working on a file, okay, and you made 3 changes there, and you published the workbook at, let's say, 6 p.m. Okay, and I was also working on the same file that you were working on, and I published my changes or at 6:30 p.m. Okay, or let's say any time after 6 p.m. So it will take my changes as long as both of us have named the workbook same. It will take the latest workbook. If the workbook is not the latest one, okay, sorry, if the workbook name is not the same, then it will have both of us our changes and 2 different workbooks would be there. But I think your question concerns of if the workbook name is same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it will take the latest one in that case. Whatever has the latest changes, whosoever is published the last would be the one that will take the change. Okay. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, if we upload our workbook in server, so anyone can see our data.
By data, you mean
I
the
mean,
data which we are
anyone
connected to, or the workbook that is there?
workbook I'm asking about.
You mean to say the visualization or the dashboard that we have created?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, if we have published it in the server and if we share that link with someone, okay, that person can see this particular our workbook until and unless the server constraint, I mean, contains certain restrictions there.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Okay. I think then we are good to